Hey there, and welcome back to the worst Warmachine channel on the internet. I'm Malorian, and welcome back to Malorian Weekly. And this is a very timely one. I actually had a different topic planned to be putting out there, but something happened today that we need to talk about. And what it really is Privateer Press taking over the Facebook Warmachine page. This was just like sudden news happening out there today. William Hungerford goes out there and said things like, we want to go out there and we want to be improving our connection with the community. That connection is important to us. All good news. And so what they've done is actually hired someone, Lauren Lower, to actually be kind of taking the lead on this. And as part of that, they are now going to be the owners of the General Warmachine Facebook page. And so they're going to become the administrators. The old moderators are going to stay the moderators. And then Lauren came in to give Lauren's speech. So that's the news. But what I want us to really think about is, what does this mean? Is this good? Is this bad? What's the potential here? What should we be concerned about? What should everybody be really focusing on as this goes forward? Now, I think as we get into this, the first thing that we want to really do is realize that when we say, is this good, is this bad, is realize that there's going to be separate viewpoints coming into this, right? It's one of these things where depending on which way you look at it, it's going to be looking a different way. So who are the parties that are really a part of this whole change in what's going on? Well, the first one obviously is going to be Privateer Press, them the company, and what they're trying to get from these things. The other part of this is going to be really us, the players, us who play the game and are looking to enjoy it. Now, what are we really talking about? What's the thing that's really changing? Well, it's going to be that Facebook page. The General Warmachine and Horrors page has been there for a long time, and people use it to go there and basically just converse. You know, it's social media. What do you think they're doing there? They're going there to sometimes post out lists, sometimes ask rule questions, sometimes to be trying to just voice anger, voice ideas, whatever it is. They're just looking to talk with other people and getting these ideas out there. So when it comes from the player's point of view, what they really want to get with this is have a spot where you can really be talking about things, having a place where you can go to be getting help with some things. If you have a rules question, if you have like, how do I use this primer? How should I set up this event? How do I do this? What's the best way to be trying to beat that? Now, do keep in mind there are other Facebook pages, ones all for like the different specific factions and some other ones too. So there's those as well. But for all general Warmachine things, we see a lot of stuff there too. Now, as much as we like to think that it's all positive, there's a lot of negative stuff that comes out there too when people are voicing their opinions like, this shipment is late, I got these wrong parts, I can't get this in whatsoever, this part of the rule is really bugging me. Again, it's one of those things where it's not just like an empty void of evil and hate and negativity. It's a spot where in a lot of these cases, these are valid things, and it's good for people to talk about these. Again, social media, the more we talk about these things, the more we can work out these ideas, see if they're valid, and what we should do about them, if anything. So that's what the players need, and that's what the players want from this. Well, let's look over there at Privateer Press. Well, for them, the biggest thing that they can get from this is information. It's really good for them to be able to look at something and see, like, what are people talking about? What are people liking? What are people not liking? What are the real issues that we need to really focus on and try and fix? And what type of things are they looking for that we can give them to get excited? In the past, you know, Privateer Press has been using that Facebook page already to go out there and be doing announcements. They've been doing that at all the different pages. You know, if it's a big release for a certain faction, they'll go to that faction page and they're going to go there and they'll say, hey, guess what? This is coming out, and there's an insider, or the CID is coming up, or something like that. And it's a really great way to use these elements that are already in place to be just getting people excited and just getting these things out there. It should also be noted somewhere along this whole rant that they do own their own Facebook page. They have their Privateer Press page. And so it's really easy just to say from all of this, like, well, why do you need to be going into somewhere else? Just do this on your own. And you know, I think that that's something they could do, but we have to also realize, especially by this point, Privateer Press is not just dealing with just Warmachine. They're dealing with Riot Quest, they're dealing with Monster Apocalypse, they're dealing with Warcaster, and, you know, all the other little things that they do too, like their RPGs and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of different, you know, different fences that they're trying to deal with all at the same time. And it's probably better if they want to focus on Warmachine, that they have a Warmachine dedicated page. So that's what they're really trying to get out of it. So what were their options then going forward? Well, if they want to go and interact with others, they could just continue doing what they're doing. They could just go in there and say, you know what? We've been posting in here before. We've been looking in here before. And we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Thumbs up. It's all going good. Option 2. They could just be making up their own forum. If they want one that's a dedicated Privateer Press, Warmachine, and Hordes page, they could go ahead and do their own. And that'd be very easy to do. You know, of course, first of all, you need to get membership, you need to build it up and all those types of things. But here's the problem. They've already done that in the past. It always seems that, like, you know, whether it's Games Workshop or Privateer Press, it's really obvious that you probably want to have something like a forums out there in order to get this back and forth. And Privateer Press used to have theirs, and it didn't really work out so well. And the history of this will help us think of what's going on in the future. And that's just the fact that, I mean, a lot of that conversation couldn't be as straightforward as it normally would be, right? If you're coming in with this, something that you're upset about, something you're saying negative about, well, moderators would go and shut these things down. A lot of things just didn't get talked about. Instead of people talking about lists there, they started making their own faction forums. You know, the general one came up, people are posting there, somewhere where they were not being moderated by the actual company itself. And so in the end, that forum turned out to be really just for asking rules questions, and even that kind of disappeared eventually anyway. So okay, that's not going to work. So what was option 3? Well, option 3 then, obviously, is to take this pre-existing forum and go in there and actually take ownership of it. And to say, like, this is now the official Warmachine and Hordes Privateer Press Facebook page. Bam, that's done. Now, out of those options, why would that be the reason that they chose? Now, in order, I thought as soon as this was made, I want to do a hot take video, I want to jump in there, but I wanted to at least give them the fair chance to defend themselves and say, why are they doing this? You know, there's a lot of negative things or situations I could think about, and I could come on here and spout out these are my thoughts, but you know what? The fairest thing to do is to ask them, why did you do this? And give them the first shot to actually go and respond to that. So what I asked here was, Lauren Lower, could you please tell me what benefit PP looks to get from being administrator of this group as opposed to posting and viewing like anyone else? So between these two options, what are the specific benefits you're looking to get from this? This was the response. Administrative tools that give us better awareness of what is being posted and asked from the community. Moderation tools to protect our employees from abuse and harassment. The responsibility to grow and care for this community, by extension, the Warmachine community in general. This one is more nebulous, but no less important to me. Let's talk about those 3 points. Now, the very first one is a little bit weak, but there's a little bit there. So that first one there about having those administrative tools, what does that really mean? Well, as an administrator from a page, there are some interesting things that they could be using to their benefit. For example, you can set up things so that whenever a particular word is said, boom, it's going to go and send you an alert. So maybe for them, whenever there's something for, you know, a misprint, whenever there's something for mispack, delay, bad sculpt, any whatever keyword you think they might want to be really focusing on, they can do that and they can get keyed in. Again, we're going to assume that they want to do this for this good reason, but otherwise, the trying benefits you'd be getting from that to see these things, that's really it. And I mean, you have to really think that the ability to search through the thread and see where these things are, especially if you have a hired team already, they can already do that, right? The same moderators are there as what there was there before, always looking through the post, seeing what's being said. This could all be passed along anyway. And if someone's been hired to do this from up above, they can also do that stuff themselves. Facebook's not always the best thing they can go and search through, but especially if it's on the same group, you can search for those keywords and find them. You don't need to be automatically noted. So some of the other things you can do with that is have more powers of things of like where you get to ban people, where you get to do all that part of the real moderation side of things. So that's something to consider as well. But all that said, there is that small piece there where they can be alerted whenever somebody says one of these keywords, like a leak or something like that. They want to know right away, like, oh my God, this has been leaked. Let's try and shut it down. That is actually semi-valid there. Let's look at the second one, moderation tools to protect our employees from abuse or harassment. What is this abuse and harassment? Well, I know there's some stuff for harassment where people will keep on tagging the different employees out there and being like, Hungerford, look at this, and Pagani, look at this, and stuff where they're just getting ping, 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 and all this stuff. And I mean, really, we have to understand that that is harassment. It is great that some of these people really liked working with the community, but there is a limit to that, right? It's one thing to go out and make sure you touch base with the community each day. It's another to be being tagged like 100 times a day and having to try and shift through that and just trying to they have normal lives as well. They want to be tagged when their friends and their family are making posts, not all the time for this. So that's some problems. There's also stuff here where people will be posting up things saying oh, this person made an awful sculpt. Oh, this person always makes sexist sculpts. This person left for this reason. This person's a horrible employee for that reason. So there is a little bit of that as well. And so what they're saying here is that they want the moderation tools to protect this. Again, kind of saying okay, there might have been rules before saying don't tag people, but now Privateer Press has the power to say, if you tag us and you abuse us, boom, you're banned. You're out of here. So that's important to be looking at. Last one here, talking about the responsibility to grow and care the community. That one's not valid at all. That one there you can easily do without being an administrator or anything for the group. This is nothing. There's no substance there. So that's just a nice feel good that they want to do this, and that's good that they have that intention, that they want to improve the community. But again, that doesn't lead to cause and effect of why they actually want to be the administrator of that group. So what does this really mean at the end of the day? If Privateer Press is now going to be going on to this site and there are going to be more watching, like if you say anything bad about us, we're going to shut you down. Well, what that really means is that people are going to have to more watch what they're going to say. Now, some of the things that we might want to keep in mind about this is that a change anyway? The way that the general group was being moderated to this point is they were already leaning pretty hard to the side that if you say negative things about the game, we're going to get rid of it. Some key things that we should be talking about, like mispacks and power levels and things like that. There were some already rules, like if you talk about these things, no, we're going to be blocking them. I already have I like to say it's an interesting relationship with the moderators there, where they like that I make content, but they don't always like the way that I make content. So sometimes when I put that stuff on there, it either gets taken off, I might have a temporary ban, they might ask me to can you change what that title is type thing. But what I'm trying to say is that there already is that moderation there, and it's not like right now it says open free land that you can do whatever you want. There already is some tight controls already in place. So maybe there will be no change. So I think when we're trying to look ahead at what's going to happen and whether this is good or it's bad is really going to determine on what Privateer Press does with this. If they really do use this for look, we want to have a place where we can really be doing these fun things with the community, but we're only going to do that if we're in charge. Okay, well that's cool. Or if they want to be really using this for getting that feedback, okay, that's cool, but you have to be open to that feedback. I am a trainer in the job that I do, and whenever I'm teaching people the process that I'm in charge of, I always stress absolutely that, look, my process is flawed. It's gone through several times of improvements. There's going to be several more improvements. So if you have any negative feedback, send it my way, because I don't want you to suffer in silence, and I want to make my thing as good as possible, so it's going to be as good as possible for you. And really, that should be the stance that Privateer Press has too. Look, I have this product. I will admit it is not perfect, and I need your negative feedback in order to make it better. So I can only hope that instead of things of like, we don't want you talking about miscasts, we don't want you talking about, any of this type of stuff that they try and keep away, maybe they try and filter it more, right? Maybe they make different areas for, like, if you want to talk about this, make sure you send this information this way. We want to make sure this person is always hearing about distribution issues. We want to make sure this person's always talking about mispacks. If you have anything for a missculpt, we want you to talk to this person. Anything to do around like rules and stuff like that, we want that to be filtered this way. If that's what they're going to be planning to do, to be changing and directing and streamlining this feedback, that's fantastic. If they go the other way and they push it even more, saying, look, this is now only for thumbs up about Warmachine, it's going to be a repeat of the old forums. And it's just going to be where other places where you can talk about these things will become the new leaders. And I'm already kind of seeing that. Some of the other places where people can go are the faction forums, which already existed. Last time I had a temporary ban, I already had made the general Warmachine and Hordes, but with blackjack and hookers for the Futurama reference. And it was just like a joke thing at the time. And now I'm seeing people signing up as like another spot where they can openly talk about these things. And I'm sure like Score and Memes is also seeing like a big, huge flux. So people are going to be looking for places where they know they can openly talk about things. And that is really important. And if nothing else, I think that I really wanted to get this hot take out there, not so much so I can be like shaking my finger at Privateer Press and how dare you, what are you doing here, but more so as a cautionary tale that there is potential for good for what they're doing with this, and just the idea that they want to focus on and increase their engagement with the community, that intent is wonderful, but the way that you're doing it could be very disastrous. Like we already said, just the fact that you are now in control of the spot where people want to be talking about freely makes them think that they can't talk about these things freely. And once that flow dies, well, it's just going to shift somewhere else, and you kind of wasted time. So Privateer Press, I would really, 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 in these next few hours, like in the next 24 hours, make it crystal clear what your guidance is going to be about what's going to be banned from talking on there, what's going to be heavily moderated, and what those full intentions are. I really do want to hope and see that this is going to be a bright thing, where this is where it's going to be filtering that feedback like I was talking about. But oh boy, if it's the other way, you might want to be really rethinking what you're doing here. So anyway, there's my quick take on this. I really hope that things are going to be going well, but worst case scenario, if they do lock things down and get too strict, another forum is just going to open up and the internet lives on as it always does. So I would not panic as a player. I would just say, well, let's keep our eyes open, and if we need to go and talk shop somewhere else, we'll go and we'll talk shop somewhere else. So there we have it. Thanks for watching. I know there's going to be opinions about this, so feel free to post it down below, and otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.